I'm here with Emma Bearman from Playful Anywhere, but I'm going to hand over to you, Emma, to tell people who might not know who you are and what you do, a little bit of an intro, and then we'll find out more about that.
I am the self-proclaimed Chief Officer of Play, Galaxy Division.
Right.
So I'm based in Leeds, really. My head's pretty much anywhere else, but
The whole of the galaxy. Little bit, what does that Chief Officer of Play involve? A little bit more specifically.
Playful Anywhere had a play lab, or still does have a play lab actually, which is a space within St John's shopping centre, where Jumbo Records used to be before they moved to Merrion. And from that HQ of Play, we masterminded a takeover of young people making their own content called YouTube Makers Club, which was really
Right.
kind of that age group of young people, sort of 7 to 13 or so, who can't really get their own YouTube channels because you're not supposed to till you're at least 13.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, so we kind of tend to Playful work with where the energy is at, and kids really want to make their own content. So we created a sort of channel called YouTube Makers Club. And for those older people who might be tuning in, it's a bit like Why Don't You, if anybody remembers Why Don't You? Do you remember Why Don't You?
I loved Why Don't You? Loved it, yes.
So for Clancy, you could tell your viewers Why Don't You? Because there'll be some young people who never heard of it.
It was a gang of kids. It was on usually in the school holidays, and it was inspired. Yeah, bizarrely, it was a TV program inspiring you to switch the telly off.
Yeah,
with young people, and I wanted to be in the Why Don't You gang. It was just, yeah, it was inspiring, and it was kids being creative and kids inspiring each other. So yeah, completely.
Yeah. And it was regional as well, so you kind of got to hear like different regional accents, kind of pretty working class as well, actually. I think. Not that I really realised that at the time of watching it. So we kind of thought, well, what's the equivalent of that for today? Kids for kids. I mean, they're already making content galore, whether that's TikTok or whatever. So that's one element of what we do at Playful, is kind of say, well, what actually are people doing? What do they want to do more of? And how do we just create a fun place for that to happen? From that same lab, we've done corporate away days and team builds.
So you do things for adults,
adults,
yeah, for
you know,
grown-ups as well.
You know, give them a bucket of slime, and they're like, I was just about to say something rude actually. Quite happy. Maybe a little bit risk averse to start off with, but there is a bit of like the inner kid in quite a lot of people, and it's been nicely buried for some and less so for others. So yes, we were starting to develop different ways in which to look at, you know, making play more accessible for different ages. And then we have 3 refurbished shipping containers called Playboxes, and they go out to all sorts of different places, like town centres. We've just been in Scarborough with our 40-footer.
It's play and creativity, which is what you've always been about, although you've had lots of different hats on and different kind of roles over the last few years. It's what I've always seen about you. It's the play and inspiring people to be more creative and playful in their everyday lives.
So serious about it though, I'm such a bore.
Serious about play.
I mean, all the like cliches, it's like, so I think actually the best thing about lockdown is actually just reminding myself that whilst running a business can be quite all consuming, you forget sometimes to actually just enjoy, you know, playing for yourself and with your own kids actually. So, and they're always really good at telling me when I'm not playful. So yeah. I set a bit of a nightmare yardstick in our house, haven't I, really, which is you're not being playful and we're going to tell everybody when we're
How about how things have changed and what you've taken online or what you're doing differently now? I've seen a little bit about that, the mini play boxes. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I can't take credit for that. It's LS14 Trust and Fall Into Place. I don't know if you have met anybody from LS14 Trust or Fall Into Place. Are just like, they're powerhouses, like dynamos. They're so connected into their communities. And LS14 Trust is based up in Rain Park, Boggart Hill area, Seacroft. And so as soon as lockdown happened, they were already really on the ground delivering food and medicine, very much connected to the families that they'd been working with anyway for many, many years. And very soon it became apparent that everybody was just going a little bit abnormal, really, with kids not being able to go out and what have you. And, you know, I suppose in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we kind of think food obviously is the main thing. And then, you know, art or creativity is a bit of a luxury. But what's become blindingly apparent, and not just in Seacroft, but all across the city, is that that is the lifeblood of what you do once you've fed. You know, actually, the urge to create, the urge to have activities, entertainment, recreation, you know, all starts from a creative place. And so some places or some people don't have all of the materials in their homes. They're not got all the glue and all the glitter and all the, you know, that some may take for granted. So very quickly, Naomi and LS14 Trust turned the idea of big playbox into mini playbox. And because they're funded by Children in Need up there, we're able to continue their work, but just in a very different way, which was, we'll bring the playbox to you. And so as a result, I mean, we've been working with them anyway. And so the idea that as soon as people saw it, they were like, we want to do this where we live. So we've been working with other partners to help them with their mini playboxes, and also look at different levels of, or layers even, of content that can go into them. So it wasn't necessarily the plan 6 weeks ago, but I think you know, it's kind of, it's great.
This is, yeah, so the people, and this is what I wanted to do these few chats during this time about, was, yeah, the creative people will find a way, usually, given the opportunity, people will find a way to still carry on and do the thing that they're inspired to do, the thing that they're about. I know of a few other organisations that are doing similar things on a smaller scale, not just about play, but about because it's not just about survival, like we've got to come out of this with some sanity as well. So
junk hanging around our homes as well, haven't we? So, you know, kind of not being able to go to the tip. There's a whole load of stuff that actually, with a bit of a spark of imagination, a bit of confidence and a bit of support, you can turn into an activity, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's just coming up with an idea as well. So
these things could spark an idea for people.
Yeah, exactly. People can see, I mean, not everybody's online, not everybody has access to a device, or there's a whole load of device sharing that might have to go on in homes. That's another thing that I'm involved in now, is a kind of, how do we get refurbished devices into the hands of people, and that's with another group of people. So some kind of lovely spontaneous organic collaborations, kind of based on chats on Twitter, for example, and kind of going, you know, do you think this is an issue? And it sort of just starts to become a kind of rolling stone gathering moss scenario. So
playboxes are going out, they're being sent out to people's homes. Is that's happening now? How do people find out more about this if they want to find out about the mini playboxes?
So in the LS14 Trust, it's pretty much a referral process in Armley, which can't really tell you too much about just yet, but in the next week or two, there'll be a bit more information online about that.
Great.
Seagulls, who we've joined forces with as well. So Seagulls, who have an Armley connection, will be kind of spearheading that side of things. And there are a couple of other community organisations that are just kind of looking at the number of people. So what we're trying to do at the moment is just work with organisations that are already really on the ground, working with their communities, and knowledge of what kinds of things, if we need to tailor the boxes a little bit, kind of are appropriate for those communities and what have you. So there's sort of a bit of a standard element to it, but then there's also kind of some particular local flavour to it. So what is really important there is I don't take credit for this, because this really is the work of
course,
LS14 Trust, and it's, you know, it's just great to be part of it, really.
You're helping to get the word out there, and
just make a few connections, you know, go on the blag, ask sponsors for things,
which I have to say is one of your superpowers. Full disclosure, Emma and I have known each other, and I've just, while I was also listening to you, was trying to work out, I think it's 15 years we've known each other now. And we've worked together. Sorry?
So we haven't aged at all.
We have not. We have not. We worked together on a few projects, but yeah, your ability to inspire and motivate people is one way of saying it, but blag as well is like nobody I've ever known.
I like a kind of discreet ask. So someone says to me, go and find, as they have recently, 200 plus packets of spaghetti. And like, oh, who do I know? Who do I know that might be able to help me with that? You know, and that's my favourite thing, but not my only favourite thing.
Yeah, but
little things.
Like, I remember packing calendars. We did the Armley cake competition and photographic competition and make, bake and grow calendar and festival, and you were getting stuff in from Supercook as they were there. We were like stuffing calendars with sprinkles and so.
And those were such fun times as well, weren't they? I think the that thing of communities kind of coming together through fun and creativity, there's nothing like it. So
just to go back briefly to the YouTube Makers Club, just to finish off, that's something, obviously it was online to begin with, but that was getting people into the space in St John's Centre in Leeds.
Yeah,
but that you've been doing things with that now, so people don't have to obviously meet up in person.
So yeah, the idea of them sort of creating content together, obviously in a collaborative team-based way, is a little harder, I think, when they're all home-based.
Yeah.
Actually, they're probably a little less than sort of, I don't know, you know when you used to leave home and there was a different version of you that was different to the Clancy at home, for example. You might be a slightly, I don't know, even as a child, you know, there's something a bit more kind of reticent, possibly, in their own homes, and their parents are milling around. So I think I'm just very interested in how the digital space differs from the physical space when it comes to making content for YouTube. But
yeah, we
are continuing, and we've also done a nice collaboration with some artist makers, or we're doing some more. So we've done one which was a little commission based off a crowdfunder we ran. So we've been able to continue to pay for our filmmaker Sally to do some facilitation of the YouTube Maker Club meetups. And we've also done a little commission with an artist called Bunty May Marshall, who's done these gorgeous colour for rainbow pinwheel kits. So we've been sending those out to people, or people have been buying those. So the commission allowed us to then create the packs for Bunty to get paid on all of those as well, and then for people to basically pay for one to be sent somewhere else in the country, or you know, some gifts. So then
we can find out about this on your social media channels. Twitter's the best place to find out about what's going on for Playful Leeds, Playful Anywhere.
We've got we've got Playful Leeds on Twitter, Playful Leeds on Facebook, Playful Anywhere, Anytime, like the Martini advert. God, I'm so old. Obviously, YouTube Makers Club on YouTube.
Lots of play still happening. And yeah, thank you for having the chat.
Thank you, Clancy.
Thank you. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.